Hello, I'm Dr. Jonina Anderson Lopez. You can call me Gina or Mrs. Anderson Lopez in our correspondence via text or email. Welcome to 3250. We're going to cover day one stuff. So the course setup spans across 15 weeks, and I've split the 15 weeks into 15 modules. And if you log onto the Canvas course and you look at the left-hand menu, you'll find the word modules that's highlighted on the screen, and then you'll see the week split up into day one, readings and activities, and day two, readings and activities. Now, for my face-to-face courses, this is kind of intuitive because we meet twice a week, except for my hybrid courses in which we meet a week. For online courses, it can be confusing why I have the day one and day two. It's to still mimic the pacing of a face-to-face course, and as such, I do not post all the modules in advance the same way I did for a face-to-face, because this is not an accelerated or self-paced course at all. I publish modules weekly, 1 week in advance. For more on this, when you log onto the course, brush up on module 0. And you should start with module 0, which is right above module 1, because as it's labeled, it's stuff you need to know. My expectations, a little bit about me if you're curious about me, or student ratings about me, overview of the 4 major projects, expectations for working with online groups, which that's important, and a note that even before you begin module 1 work, there is 1 required assignment and 1 extra credit in the module 0. You're wondering about homework, major projects, again, of which there are 4 major projects. Usually there's going to be 2 or 3 weekly assignments attached to completing a major project. Sometimes there's more. I try not to overload you, or if administration wants you to complete a particular assignment, I might mark it as extra credit. I can't always promise that. Basically, day 1 will usually be comprised of a low stakes kind of homework assignment ranging from 5 to 20 points. And it's designed for you to practice a component of an upcoming project to reinforce a concept to help you understand the project outcome. And then day 2 is comprised of readings and 1 major project component. So like fitting together the pieces of a puzzle to get you moving towards finishing the project. So day 1, low stakes homework stuff. Day 2 stuff in the module is you completing a project component. Now you know a little bit about the course. I'll introduce myself. I am originally, I was born in Aurora, Colorado, and my family then moved to Puerto Rico. That's where the majority of my family died. And then when I was about 5, we moved back to Colorado. And then as an adult, I've lived in Florida and Atlanta. I admit I loved Atlanta the most. There's just so much to do there. Very fun, vibrant city. My favorite horror movie, I knew you were wondering this, it is Get Out, because I like psychological, mysterious horror rather than all in your face gory horror. I'll watch any kind of horror, but something psychological where I have to think about it or figure out the deeper kind of mystery. My favorite book was required reading when I was in fifth grade, Fahrenheit 451. I was the only kid in the class that liked the book, and ever since I have adored it. So, if we were face to face, I would ask you a lot of these same things. Instead, I'm asking to know more about you as a, a required assignment in the discussion post that you can find in Module 1. I shared something about me. I want to know about you, but also if you do not submit that day one first attendance assignment, you will be dropped from the course at 9 p.m. on the first day of the course. So please fill that out. That is required per USF. So I've introduced myself, and you're going to introduce yourself in a virtual way. And now, because this is a writing course, I want to talk about writing and what I would consider just a good piece of writing in a fiction or nonfiction way. If I had to point at one work and say that is good writing, I would take The Truth About Stories by Thomas King. It is a nonfiction book, but the way King weaves together stories about his life, it's very relatable, and it seems a little fantastical. And he kind of evokes a prose style of writing that reminds me of Ray Bradbury, but it's also just very kind of clear cut and funny. And so I would say it's good writing. So again, if we were face to face, I would be passing around note cards, and I would be asking the student, you, to tell me what you consider to be a piece of good writing. We're not face to face, we're virtual. I don't require Zoom meetings, although I do require you to watch these pre-recorded lectures, and just to get your mind going. What would you settle on as a good piece of writing? It can be an article, a book. It can be a movie because someone had to write and produce that. It is a form of writing. What do you think of when you think of good writing? So this all connects to PTC, or professional and technical communication. Writing in the workplace, the purpose of this course. Ultimately, the purpose of writing in the workplace coincides with brevity. I'll say that word a lot during the course, and essentially what it means is say what you want to say using as little words as possible. Get to the point quickly. If you can do that, and it's something you have to practice at, but if you can do that, you're going to be an effective communicator in life, and especially in the workplace. So, along with learning how to write concisely, utilizing brevity, this class is going to mimic real life workplace situations, reenact your understanding of rhetorical awareness and how it applies to workplace writing. So you're going to still talk about ethos, pathos, logos, kairos, and how it applies to your writing. You're going to have to take part in some group projects throughout the semester. The semester is going to end with a major group project that hinges a lot on your final grade. Not to torture you, but so that you can learn how to work with a group in a professional sense to solve a professional problem. You'll learn how to tackle a larger group initiative. I'm going to teach you how to do that. That is a worthy skill, especially learn how to do that online. So I love splitting things up into smaller parts so you can absorb it better, and that's how I have learned. And if you hate that kind of learning, it's too bad. That's how we're going to take the course. It's a predictable way to uh, absorb information. It helps keep things organized, and then you always know what to expect. So the course is essentially split up into 4 phases. There's 4 projects. With the first project, you can consider yourself almost as a new hire because I have to teach you the basics, and that's learning document types and design. And that's ultimately what project 1 is about. And then project 2, you've been an employee for a little while. We're going to tackle something a little bit harder, and that's learning visual data sets. And I consider that one of the more fun parts of class. And you can be really creative if you want to be. If you hate being creative, then hey, we'll talk about how you can. The third project, or when you're a more veteran employee, I'm going to turn to you and say, now you're also a researcher for the company, and you're going to apply that to a research memo, and you will also apply primary and secondary research. And then lastly, when you are that employee, that veteran employee, a model employee, you are going to be put into project groups to solve a professional problem as a business or nonprofit. That's up to you and your group. Submit to your boss, that is your audience, a recommendation report, which is a melding of visual and research and writing components. So you enact everything that you've learned throughout the semester to end the semester. So with that first project, with any project, I'm going to supply you with some things. You're going to get some choices, and it results in some outcomes. So the first project, I'm going to tell you who your audience is. Audience is important to any professional document. Who are you writing it for? I'm going to also supply you with 4 workplace scenarios, and you pick one. So then you're picking your scenario, and once you learn about the 3 most common document types, you're going to choose which document types you think are best to respond to the audiences for your chosen scenario. And ultimately, this is designed to help you learn about professional etiquette, particularly with emails. You're going to learn how to construct a memo and a business letter. You're going to get familiar with some workplace scenarios, and you're going to get the ball rolling on problem solving in the workplace. So with project 2, I'm going to supply you with the data sets or the topics, and everyone in the class for project 2 will be constructing a visual report. You're not going to get to choose what document type you're creating, but you will get to choose your topic, and you do get to choose your audience for this second project, because now you're an employee with the company. You've been with us for a while, and I can trust you a little bit more. And so you also get to choose the 3 types of visuals to create, so that you learn how to create visual data sets, which is very important in the workplace, and learn how to do it quickly, and learn how to apply some design principles to professional documents. So for the third project, everyone in the class will be constructing a research memo, and we'll have to choose a type of primary research to relate loosely to your topic that you're keeping from project 2. You still get to choose your audience, who you pretend you're working for, corporate, business, or a nonprofit. And then you'll learn there's different types of primary research you can conduct from home, online. So again, that you can get it done quickly, the way you would want to do so in a workplace. You'll also learn about the local impact of a professional project problem. Because with project 4, the way we're going to end the course, all 4 groups in the class will be making a recommendation report. You and your group get to choose a solution to a professional problem. You get to choose which city you'll be solving it for, and which business or nonprofit your group will be working for. And you and your group can decide how and when your meetings take place, over Zoom, on a Google Doc, texting each other, calling each other. This is so that you can learn, again, group dynamics. You're going to learn a new document type, a progress report. You're going to learn how to draft a charter. You're going to learn how to manage your time more effectively and collaborative writing. So when you're navigating Canvas, it's going to be a lot of what we already talked about before. How the modules are broken up into day 1 and day 2 readings and activities. Some of those readings and pre-recorded video lectures are required for you to get the full range of points on some of your assignments. So pay attention to the module 0 readings, the syllabus, which will mention some of that. You want to know what is due and when it's due. You click on the assignment page. You go to the bottom of the syllabus page all the way down, and it will show you some due dates, kind of in a list format. I love that about the syllabus page. Or you can always click on the calendar page to see when things are due. And then there's a separate platform you're going to have to access and purchase to access the e-text for the course, and so that you can submit rough and final draft for all 4 of the projects. So if you never access USF Writes or you never purchase it, it's about $39, $40, I believe, you will not be able to move on with the course successfully. Along with some of those required readings for each module, I've labeled them under day 1 and day 2 as understanding concepts pages. These are pages I've written for you for the course to help you absorb the content. Kind of think of them as Spark Notes. So I've written them to help you. If you never access these pages, I'm going to be able to tell, because you're going to be emailing me, texting me things that I wrote down for you in understanding concepts. And if that is the case, I'm going to tell you, visit W1 or W1.2, understanding concepts, and then return with a question if you have one. What's great about these pages is that what you see on the screen, immersive reader, you don't want to read the understanding concepts pages or really any page on Canvas. You can click the immersive reader button and it will read it out loud to you. You can be walking around doing laundry. You can be clicking around on other windows while it's reading it out loud to you in a not so unpleasant computery voice. Personal responsibility. You are adults. While I think of you as kids sometimes, or I'll say kids, you're adults in the sense that you're responsible for submitting your own assignments. You're responsible for knowing when they're due. If you text me or email me for a due date, I will not respond. This is because when this has happened in the past, sometimes because I'm a human being and I have other classes that have different due dates, I've told students the wrong due date. And then because of me, or so they said, they turned in the assignment on the wrong date. Canvas due dates are always your default. If there's ever a conflict or you're like, that Canvas due date doesn't look quite right, I'm going to ask her about it, maybe with a screenshot or something for clarification. That's totally different. But it's up to you to submit your assignments on time and to know when they're due. That's my kind of scary part of this video lecture. You want to know more about the course, and you really should look at the syllabus page on the left-hand corner or the left-hand menu of Canvas. You'll also see my contact info. You can text or call me only using the free app called WhatsApp. And this is so I can keep student communication separate from, regular phone call or text, because when I see that little green thing flash on my phone, I know it's because a student has a question. And you're usually going to get a question or an answer to your question very quickly, depending on what time of day it is. Please don't text or call me at 1 or 2 a.m. or something. You might hear my cat have a hairball in the background. Comfortable with texting or calling me, you can email me directly at andersonlope@usf.edu. You can always Canvas email me, but you're going to get a response within about 72 hours, because I have to then visit a web browser, log on to that, and then respond to you. But if you text or you email me directly at the USF email, you're going to get a quicker response. And then you'll see the required text on the screen. and that it's available for that price. And you can only purchase it on USF Wright's website. You cannot purchase it through the library or using your stipend funds. I know it sucks, but you can't. Maybe you can. I don't know. Ask librarian, but from what I've heard and my experience this past semester, you can't do that, and you have to purchase it on the website yourself. If you don't like it, talk to USF administration, tell them you want something else. I didn't say that. Anyway, my face-to-face class are going to be signing in, but attendance for an online course is a lot different. Visit the syllabus page for more information. But I do take attendance even for an online class. And for our online class, that means, are you going to turn in at least one assignment by Saturday? If you have done that, you're going to be present for that week. If you have not, you're going to be not present, and that's 10% of your grade. So if you never turn anything in, that's affecting your grade another way, and it's also affecting your attendance, which also will lower your grade. So just turn in one thing a week, knowing that there's more than one thing a week to do, and you're good. When you visit the syllabus page, it's going to give you an overview of everything on the screen. We may or may not go over some of them, but I'm not going to go over all of it. This video would then be like an hour or so long, and it would be awful. But I will show you how you can access it. Oh, not very tech savvy. So when we're on the course, you want to look at the syllabus. So we click on syllabus, Canvas menu, and it will tell us everything we need to know. And especially, if you want to find something in particular, Control F. Type in password because there is a password for certain assignments. This is one part that I'm going to highlight about the syllabus, because for some assignments, I may require a password that is mentioned in pre-recorded lectures. I haven't mentioned it in this one because this is an optional lecture. But for day 2 video lectures for each module, I include a password, and it's going to differ from week to week. And if you just put the same password over and over, you're going to miss out on something. But we'll go over that later when we start talking about assignments that have passwords. And it doesn't mean you can't complete a particular assignment that says include the password. It just means you're going to miss out on it. Anyway, so you can access the syllabus there. But also, before you scroll down all the way, you can look at the syllabus kind of in a visual format. If you click that link that says Sway Presentation, and it doesn't include everything about the syllabus, but some of the stuff is there, some of the more important stuff, some stuff we've already talked about. There's one part of this that I want, or a few actually, that if you upload a blank or incorrect assignment, automatically I'm going to mark it as a 0. If it's before the due date, I will include a note in the comment of the grade, the 0, to kind of remind you, but that's not my, again, not my responsibility to do that. You should be checking your uploads to make sure it's correct, so that that 0 after the due date does not stick to you. We'll talk about that later when we get to this stuff. So late work, I do accept small homework like day 1 assignments or even some outlines. I accept those late up to 3 days with a 10% penalty for every day late, and then after that period is a 0 forever in the grade book. These assignments, I do not accept them late in any way, shape, or form. I don't care if USF Wright or Canvas was having an issue, because I am not working for IT. So if you do, I understand sometimes those websites don't work. And if that occurs, what you need to do is open your email, attach your assignment before the due date, before the time and the day it's due, and tell me there's a technical issue and that you're emailing me your assignment because of that, and then you'll still get credit, full credit for the assignment. If you email me after the day and time it's due that you're having technical difficulties, you still get the 0. I want to stress that, but this is the stuff you need to look at on your own. I do want to quickly review USF rights and what that is, especially if you've never used it before. But if you go to Module 0, there is an introduction and again, a required assignment to kind of teach you about USF rights, but it is that separate platform that you have to purchase so that you can access the e-text of the course. You're buying the textbook for the course when you purchase access to USF rights, and you click on our course, which we're in 705, or if you're in one of my face-to-face courses, you click the course and then the e-text option will pop up at that point. And the readings coincide with what I recommend for you in the modules. And we can see for module 1, there's 2 reading suggestions for you to be successful in the course. And I'll tell you the names of the chapters, but you can't click anywhere here for them. You have to go to USF Rights, access the e-text, go to the table of contents, and then type in the page number for the chapter I suggested that you read. And then when you're turning in assignments, you go to projects, and you look at the due dates and you follow the directions for the upload. And here is where you're going to turn in that first Module 0 required assignment that just shows that you purchased access to this very important e-text platform. That also is where you're going to turn in your rough and your final draft as the semester progresses for each project. And sometimes these dates might look different than what is on Canvas, but I try not to do that. If that is the case, then just let me know. Like for instance, week 2 is when your rough draft for project 1 is due, and we can see the due date. I haven't updated these yet. It says January 16th here. You can't upload it to Canvas, but I do give you all the directions for the rough draft on Canvas that you then have to upload to USF Rights, and I remind you that's part 2 of the assignment. So then you would log into USF Rights, check the due date here, and upload it. So again, if there's ever a conflict because I haven't fixed some due dates on Canvas and it looks different on USF Rights, let me know. But that's only going to maybe happen for a rough and final draft, and I'll try to never let it happen. So we've looked at USF Rights. Now let's talk about project 1, because that starts off our semester, the 4-part semester. So project 1 is a 3-week writing project. It's called Document Theory. And it is designed to teach you document types, such as a memo, email, and a letter. You might already think you know what that is, but you don't. It's going to reinforce you learning these document types from 4 workplace scenarios, of which you have to choose one scenario to respond to, creating 3 responses for specific audiences in those scenarios, and we'll kind of look at that. You're going to have to enact some problem solving, not just responding to the audiences, but how can you solve the problems in the scenarios? And you'll, throughout the process, display your understanding of design and writing principles for professional documents that you'll have learned from the reading and the reinforced homework. So ultimately with project 1, you see the steps here. You're going to read the scenarios. You're going to choose one that you like best. You're going to review the 3 audiences attached to the scenario that you chose. You're going to understand your role in the scenario. You're going to be listed in the scenario as a project manager, a boss of the company, or whatever. And you're going to have to understand how you use tone to appropriately respond to your boss, to your colleagues, to an outside client. And you're going to have to guess which document type is best for your boss, for the outside client, for your colleagues. Should they get a memo, email, or a letter? And you're going to start drafting your outline at the end of this week. I'm going to overview each of the scenarios as quickly as I can. So the first scenario you might choose is more retail-based. You are overseeing 10 stores. Your boss is safe, and the problem in the scenario is that there's a new position with each of your stores. It's called a body care improvement specialist. They're being misused in the stores, and that is a problem for sales, and that's a problem with miscommunication with the store managers and the BCI training specialist team. To remedy this issue, you have to update your boss face. You have to clarify what's happening with the 10 managers at the store. And you have to reach out to Steve, who was supposed to train all the managers on what the BCI is supposed to do. If you don't like that scenario for project 1, you can choose scenario 2, which is more tech-based. You run a large internet design firm. You're so large that sometimes you have to outsource, and you outsource to Maintain You to help you update routine maintenance for other client websites. Your boss is Nathan Elder. Nathan's not happy because Maintain You has been fucking up, and your oldest client, Gateway Industries, is upset over what happened. They don't know Maintain You, an outside client, a company, is handling their maintenance, and you don't want them to know that either. You have to smooth things over with Gateway Industries, Sheila. You have to reach out to Maintain You and say, hey, what the fuck, Jason, who apparently runs Maintain You. And you have to update Nathan, your boss. You don't like 1 or 2, maybe scenario 3 for you, or is for you. It's a municipal issue. You're opening a new store, Shop and Leave. It's a national chain, but there is a wastewater and federal regulation issue. It's bucking up against some state regulations as well. So you've been denied a permit by Anthony Clemens, Director of Public Works and Utilities for the City of Dunedin. You need this decision to be reconsidered. So you have to reach out to Sarah Johansson, your facilities designer, to somehow see how this can be fixed. You have to use problem solving. You have to reach out to your boss, Anita Breyer, to update her on what's going on. None of those seem right for you. Maybe scenario 4 is it's an HR issue with a major company, more of an office building setting. Your office, Coffee Filters, wants more diverse hires, and yay for that. But because of that, you're getting some hires with some cultural tattoos, some cultural piercing. Your handbook's not updated for that. And one of your employees, Ms. Mundell, has expressed concern because she has cultural tattoos. She looked at the handbook and it says she could be fired. She felt pressure to sign the handbook so that she could get her job. We can all kind of relate to that, right? So you reach out to the outside company that you all use to write the handbook, the employee handbook, and what kind of problem solving can you enact to smooth things over with this new hire, with your boss, Mr. Critton, and how are you going to reach out to this outside vendors that you've used? Linda Fleming is your contact there. And what kind of gap could you problem solve, or how can you coordinate with Ms. Mundell so that she knows she's not lost her job and she doesn't have to take time off or anything? That's not really feasible, right? So how could you help Ms. Mundell and other new hires like her? So those are the 4 scenarios. And like I've mentioned, you'll have to choose one for project 1. You definitely have to choose one at the end of this first week to start writing your outline. And as you saw with each of the scenarios, there's 3 people you have to respond to. So ultimately, the project is you constructing 3 responses and deciding, would this person probably receive a letter, email, or a memo? And you're going to learn more about letters, emails, and memos through subsequent lectures, and majorly reinforced by the required reading, understanding concepts, and supplemental materials and homework. So if you have questions, please reach out to me via email. email or texting me on WhatsApp. And let's look at some of those day one assignments so that you can get them before I let you go here. So again, there's module 0 and 1 required assignment, 1 extra credit assignment. And then since we're on day 1, you click understanding concepts. There's a lot of what we talked about, but more in detail. And always at the top of understanding concepts are where we're going to find the links for the video lectures. And for day 2, understanding concepts, the pre-recorded lectures are required. This is the one optional pre-recorded lecture just to help you get going with the course. And it reminds you about stuff about USF rights. And at the bottom, you'll always find my phone number and my email. And then there's the required readings like we saw. And then because for my online classes, you have the discussion posts like we talked about, and it's you just telling me about yourself. It's a text box, so you don't have to worry about formatting. And we'll kind of talk about that in the next assignment or in the next pre-recorded lecture. Low stakes assignment, 5 points, but if you don't turn it in by January 10th at 9 p.m. Eastern, you will be dropped from the course. There's no way I can guarantee that you'll be let back in, so please. Yeah. There is a low stakes assignment. Guys, quiet. Ozzy out of his room. There's a low stakes assignment, purpose and audience, and it's meant to mimic and get you ready for project 1. It's a scenario that I'm giving you about you won a Cool Ranch Doritos contest. You don't like that contest, you can make up something else. Like, I don't know, you're going to a concert or you want a car and you have to go pick it up. I have no idea. I didn't write the scenario. But there's a scenario, just like we were talking about the scenarios for project 1. But this is a homework assignment designed to mimic the entire project. You have to review these basics. You don't have to write anything for part 2. But you should review basic email structure because these structures, these tips I'm giving you will help you with this assignment. It's going to help you with other email assignments. And I give you a sample of a bad email and why there's problems with it, how I would revise it. This was an email a student actually sent me. Why it's better. So that will help you because this assignment is about reacting to a scenario for 3 audiences, but only doing that through email. You don't have to worry about memo or business letters. So to construct this, finally, to draft it, to get the 10 points, I would copy your audiences maybe. To always have a template ready to go for your homework. Talk more about that in the next video lecture, but you should have a template saved to construct your homework. And then copy and pasting things to kind of help you out with the assignment. And knowing that since you have to respond to those 3 people, you don't have to number it, but you could. And that since you're writing 3 emails, you should start with the subject line. And then the body of the email. For the 3 people that should be needed. Subject, body of the email. And that can be on 1 page, maybe 2, but remember, brevity is your friend. Being concise. So it shouldn't really be ranging a lot of pages. It shouldn't be double-spaced. It should still look like an email, and that means it shouldn't be 1 block of text, and that you're avoiding saying hi because you should avoid face-to-face kind of ways of communicating via an email and other things you'll see in the reading. So you're replying to your boss, teacher, and your friend. Tone enters into this because the way that you would talk to people, these different audiences, you're not going to talk to your boss the same way you would to your friend. So when you're constructing the body of each email, remember that formal, informal language enters into it. Colloquialism or everyday phrases may or may not enter into that. What you need to disclose, never lying, but also maybe not disclosing too many details. These are important professional tips I'm giving you. And then you're hitting save on this, or is it a text? So yeah, you're saving it as a doc, uploading it for 10 points by January 13th at 11:59 p.m. I will accept it late up to 3 days of the 10% penalty every day. And you're making sure to format it according to MLA or APA standards. You don't know what that means. Visit understanding concepts for this module. After that, you still have a question, please reach out to me. You want to know how I'm going to grade the assignment, kind of what everything is worth, then review that here. And that is it for this lecture, and you have a good day. Good rest of your week until the next lecture.